everyone, it's Silvia from Fiddler Tarot. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to have a look at more than a few decks that I bought from a couple of shops, resellers in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. So just to reiterate, these are the LT Tarot shop and the Mystic House shop, and these are 2 out of 3 reputable resellers of decks in Vietnam. As always, I kindly ask you to keep an open mind and not make any kind of generalization. It is true that there's a lot of forgery going on, unfortunately. Well, not just in Vietnam, but pretty much anywhere, really. But LT Tarot Shop and Mystic House have been really fighting against piracy, and they're really sometimes even struggling to stay afloat in a market that is very competitive and aggressively so, because other shops are selling fake deck, of course. But I'm very happy to say that they have been, they even received prizes for their business, and it was a pleasure to deal with them. I am so very happy that I had the opportunity to have a chat with a few of them, a few of the guys that were working for those shops. And of course, let's have a look at the cards, because that's what we're here for. So I don't even know where to start, but let's just go back to the couple of decks, the last couple of decks that I bought from LT Tarot. And I think that I went back because in a previous video, I'm pretty sure that I showed you this deck, but in a mini. So this is the Exile Tarot, but this is the Awaken edition. And because I bought the mini, which was really literally super cute, but also really, really tiny, and I looked at the cards and I really, really enjoyed them. So I actually went back and I got the full size, the standard edition, because I'm really, I got really emotional when I saw these cards. This is a Kickstarter that was fulfilled, if I'm not wrong, this year. And it came out with a few options. It was really, I actually looked into it, but then because I actually backed a lot of Kickstarters this year, I kind of posed myself a bit of a limit, and I had already reached my limit when I saw this one, and I didn't really want to cancel a pledge for any of the other decks that I pledged for. I don't know about you guys, I'm actually curious to hear what you think. Do you cancel a pledge? Because I feel awful. I had to cancel one pledge once, and I really, honestly, I felt awful because it was a deck, and I only canceled when I was sure that the deck was gonna reach the goal. So my canceling, and it was after, so it was over the target, and canceling my pledge would not have meant anything for them. So nothing would have happened if I had canceled. But I have to say, more than once, I actually wanted to cancel, and I didn't, because maybe they just reached their target, and I was worried that if I had canceled my pledge, it would have gone down, so below the target, so I just didn't. But in any case, I'm curious to know what you guys feel about canceling pledges, because sometimes life is tough, and we just realize that we don't necessarily have the budget that we thought we did, and that's what happens. So let me know in the comments below, what do you do when there's a Kickstarter you're not entirely sure about, and you're thinking about canceling? Do you do it? Do you not do it? Obviously, it's there's a lot of things to take into consideration when looking at this. So I wanted to say that this is amazing. I'm looking at the cards now, and I absolutely love them. This is the Awaken edition, so there's a couple of editions of this one, not just when it comes to the different sizes. There's a full standard size, there's a teen size, and then there's a mini, really tiny one that I'm happy that I've got because it was very cheap. I think I paid around 45 Australian dollars for it, which is, you know, for a mini, it's actually not that cheap, but these decks are independently produced or Kickstarter produced. So obviously they're a bit more expensive than a mass market deck. Love these 501s, by the way. Really beautiful. So this is the Awaken edition, as I was saying. The difference between the Silent and the Awaken edition is that when there is a face on the card, you will actually see the face. So you will see the eyes, you will see the nose, you will see the mouth, etc. Whereas the Silent edition is more similar to the Monsoon Tarot. If you're familiar with the Monsoon Tarot, you will remember that the art style is very similar to this. And you're not wrong, these are actually the same creators. I don't necessarily know whether it's more than one, it could be just one, apologies for that. But in any case, it is the same person/persons that created this deck. And in the Monsoon Tarot, there were no faces. So that was the reason why I loved that deck, but I couldn't really use it because my brain just works this way. I need to see a face. I don't necessarily need to like the face, but I need to see a face because my brain looks for an expression. And whenever I don't see a face, I don't understand the expression. There are technical terms for that. It is more common than people might think. There's a number of ways our neurons work. And in my case, I really need to see a face. Otherwise, it creates all sorts of confusions for me. And so this deck is amazing because it's got all of the vibes of the Monsoon Tarot. It is as beautiful, if not more. But at the same time, it's got faces. So I am very happy that I finally got this, and I got the mini, and I also have the full-size edition, which is actually gilded, and it's a very beautiful gilding, almost holographic, I would say. So really nice. It also comes with a instruction. It says instructions, but I'm thinking obviously it's a guidebook which has got, look, it's cool because it's got the Silent and the Awaken thumbprints of the cards, and it does have a bit of there's a sentence here, for example, for the Ten of Wands: blind optimism is like a tiny spark of fire, inadvertently separating me from true freedom. Wow! How powerful is that? My goodness. That is very interesting. I will need to see. I love when there's really thought-provoking sentences connected to the cards, because this is wonderful for my journaling and meditation. And then you got a part which says, vision: a massive wildfire has erupted in the forest under the ranger's watch. In this nearly hopeless scene, they mockingly hoist a broken bucket and head towards the daunting mass, which they know they cannot manage alone. Oh, guys, oh my God. That, sorry, that just blew me away. That is a slightly different concept that I am used to associate with the Ten of Wands, because they know that I cannot smother the fire, and yet they still go. Amazing, love that. Then there's a message: the Ten of Wands weighing down on the ranger, catch on fire. I am thinking this has probably been written in Chinese and then translated with Google Translate, so I'm not exactly expecting a perfect translation, but you get the gist. When they accepted the job, they naively thought that such a disaster would never befall them. Now it has nearly escalated into an irreversible state, where effort and persistence alone can no longer surmount the problems at hand. Really love that. And then there's keywords. I have to say, this is fantastic. It's done really well. I love the deck. It's really beautiful. It is rather expensive, or at least it was for me, obviously, because I did not back the Kickstarter. What happened was that when you buy these decks from a reseller, obviously you pay a markup because the reseller obviously needs to make money, but I'm happy that I have supported this business. So let's move on to the second deck. Okay, so the other deck that I bought from LT Tarot Shop is actually an oracle deck, and this is an oracle deck that can be found on Tevada, the online reseller. And I was kind of happy that I found this because it was the same price as on Tavada, so there was no markup. But at the same time, I didn't have to pay for shipping. And I know that on Tavada, or at least from what I know to Australia, if you spend more than a certain amount of money, the shipping is actually waived. So it's free shipping. But I never really got around to buy as many decks as I was need to achieve that amount of money. And so every time that I'm browsing on Tavada, I just miss out, and I was really happy to found this. So this is the Vast Enlightenment cards. It's an Oracle deck. It's a rather large size. Let me just show you the cards. So it comes with a guidebook, which is really interesting. And this one comes with, oh no, this is a Chinese. Oh no, okay. So the first part is in Chinese and the second part is in English, which I'm very happy about. So we've got a description of the card, we got a message, and then we got some keywords. Now the reason why about this one and not the lighter edition, so if you're familiar with these cards, there's a lighter and a darker edition. About the darker edition, because from the few cards that I could actually view, that I could see, it looks like this is a deck that would pair up really nicely with my darker kind of decks, especially the ones by Alejandro Colucci, is it? Yeah, the Tarot Z, Tarot V, but even the Corrado Roy Murder of Crows, for example, or even the Joker Tarot, still by Corduroy. These are all Los Scarabeo decks. Really love this. There's not a lot of cards, I think. And I kind of have to do this because it feels like they're gonna stick together. This is a really nice linen finish. It feels, I'm not an expert, so I'm not gonna elaborate on that, but I know that there's a difference between a soft linen and a plasticky kind of linen. This is the plasticky, and I don't mean plasticky in a negative way. I just mean that it's, as opposed to the papery kind of linen, this is more like glossy, let's put it this way, which makes the colors really pop. I don't know if you can see. So what I'm happy about is that the titles at the bottom of the cards are more like they can be understood as keywords as well, and I really enjoy that. So order, flexibility, this is really beautiful. I was very worried that it was going to look AI produced, and I don't know, I have no idea whether this has indeed been produced with the help of AI. It doesn't look like it. As I said, I don't know, so it might have been, but to my knowledge, it hasn't. It's really beautiful, very dark, I have to say. The keywords are very strong. Oof, wow, okay. Very powerful. I'm really liking this, and I'm thinking even cards, very like cards like childhood, like this one, for example, it kind of makes you feel like there's this sort of darkness lingering in the background. So I'm very happy because looking at the cards, I can definitely pair them with the tarot decks that I was mentioning before. Which ironically are decks that I find hard to pair with an Oracle deck, or at least I find hard to find an Oracle deck that pairs up well with those decks. And if you know me, if you have watched my channel for any length of time, you will know how much I love dark decks. So very happy that I have found these Vast Enlightenment cards, because I'm really convinced that they will go really well with those decks. I don't have them with me because I am still traveling. This time it's been a really long trip. We are at the tail end of the trip last week, basically. And we are currently, I'm filming from Malacca, and if you don't know where that is, it's on the southern end of Malaysia. It's a World Heritage Site. It's a really, really beautiful place. But this episode is still Turtle Tour referring to Vietnam because these are the decks that I bought from the two Vietnamese resellers. And by the way, there's going to be a special episode just for my members. So it's going to be members first. So all of my members, even the Fairlight members, the first tier of my membership, will be able to access my very special episode in which I will show you the Tarot Museum. That is a Tarot Museum on the Mekong Delta, and it's absolutely fantastic. It was an amazing experience. Some of those decks I have never seen in my entire life. There were so many incredibly ancient decks that my mind was blown. So it's going to be accessible by my members first, and then it's going to be released to all of my subscribers. So don't miss it. It's really, really special video. So moving on to the other decks, I think these two, yes. So let's go to two mass market decks, which I am not entirely sure are still available. This is the Margarete Petersen Tarot by AGM Urania, and this one is the special edition because it's a 21st year edition. No, 20th, sorry. It's the, it has been published in 2021 to celebrate the 20th anniversary of this deck. And I have to say, I had the version of this deck with the grayish borders. I did not like the gray borders to the point that I actually trimmed them off, and then I wasn't happy about the size of the cards, wasn't happy about the deck in general, the way in which I had trimmed it. Sorry, I don't have my gears, so instead of having a cutter, I actually have to use this small scissor, which means that it's a bit of a terrible job what I'm doing. But I know that this is still available on Amazon and everything, especially if you have access to Amazon Germany, you will see that this is available. But I did not have it, and I would have had to pay for shipping from Amazon Germany, so I'm quite happy that I was able to get it there. So it comes in a two-part box as opposed to the tuck box, which was for the gray bordered edition. And so obviously we got a guidebook. Is it in German? No, it's in English. Perfect. I really love this deck. So I know this deck already. As I said, I had the other version, but I do prefer this version. Very happy that I've got it. I'm already thinking about what to pair it with, and I already know actually what to pair it with. So I was thinking about a deck that I don't even know if it has been released yet, because it's from the same author as what's it called, the Field Tarot, but it's an oracle deck, and it's based on animal based. I don't know the title, sorry about that, but whether it's being produced and released soon or it has already been produced, I am really looking forward to get my hands on that oracle deck, because I think it will pair up really well with this one. When I was using the borderless or trimmed gray version of this deck, I was pairing it up with the Field Tarot, and it felt absolutely fantastic. Even though there were two tarot decks, they felt really, really good together. And let me just say, I am blown away by how beautiful this deck is. This version with the maroon borders, I think it is the perfect way to frame the fiery images that we've got. I really, really love this. I knew I loved this deck because I knew I loved the fact that it's abstract and the use of color is amazing. It does fall into the same category as a tarot scholar, for example, which I have and I really love. That one is an indie deck though, and it's not actually indie, it's been published by Folger Press in the UK, but it's very difficult to get it, and it does sell for a very high price, which makes it feel like it's an indie deck. This one is not, it's a mass market deck, as I said. Really amazing, and look at this deck card, isn't it just absolutely beautiful? Mediatrix, the Devil. I love the star card as well. So I can't wait to actually be able to pair it up with whatever the name is of the oracle, from the same author as the Field Tarot, because I think it will pair up really well. Even though, you know, we're looking at a very abstract kind of tarot deck, and pairing it up with an oracle deck which is not abstract can actually be complementary. So I'm really looking forward to doing just that. So this is the Margarete Petersen. So I'm trying to pronounce it the correct way because she is actually German, or was. Sorry, I don't know whether she's still alive or not. Let me just see if it says something about the author here. No, it doesn't look like it, but she did. Oh, no. It looks like she's still alive because she signed the 2021 edition. The foreword, she actually wrote something about the deck. So I'm thinking, I'm sorry, I just have really no idea. She could be, you know, 30 years old for all I know, or she could be 90 years old. I have no idea. But in any case, I'm pretty stoked to have finally gotten a hold of this deck because, as I said, I did pay normal price, but I did not have to pay shipping, which is always good. And then this deck, I'm sure you all recognize this deck. This is the Ankar Tarot. And unfortunately, this is not the indie edition. This is the Llewellyn edition mass market, as you can see. But the reason why I got it is because I have heard, and I think it's correct, that this deck has gone out of print. And I don't know if you watched a couple of videos lately on my channel. I have actually started this discussion about how does a mass market producer decide which decks they're going to stop printing. Because I believe, and some of you were saying it is because of the contracts. So perhaps there's a publishing contract that goes on for, I don't know, 10 years. Really don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. And when the contract expires, obviously they need to decide whether to renew the contract or not. And sometimes they have problems, sometimes they have trouble. Perhaps the publisher doesn't necessarily agree with the authors. Perhaps the author is passed away and the estate doesn't agree with the prices or the conditions. There's a number of things, and they just decide not to renew the contract. And obviously they are going to sell out the remaining decks, but after that it's not going to be printed any longer. That is I think one of the reasons why they can go out of print. Sometimes it's probably because they think that it's not very popular and the publisher just, you know, downright refuses to renovate the contract. I don't know. But in any case, I have seen a few decks going out of print that were extremely popular, like people really buying them left and right. There's been tarot tubers doing deck studies with those decks, and I really don't understand why. So something like the Tarot of Vampires by Ian Daniels, if you don't know it, that one is also going out of print, and apparently it's not going to be reprinted any longer. So if you like that deck, but also if you don't like the deck but you heard about the guidebook, I can assure you the guidebook is absolutely fantastic. It does have a lot of information, not just related to the deck itself, but for tarot readers in general. I highly recommend it. So if you don't have that deck and you wanted to get it, this is the time, because you might not be able to find it any longer. So the Ankar, as I said, this is the mass market edition published by Llewellyn, now out of print. It's not the indie edition. I know that the indie edition had either borderless or very tiny borders. To be honest with you, I have nothing against this mass market edition. It's very beautiful. I really like it. I like this deck. It's a very nice deck. I always thought to myself, I'm going to wait. I will buy it one day. It's a mass market. It's not going to go out of print. And of course, we should never wait. Whenever we want a deck, we should never wait. We should always get it. This is my advice, because honestly, if you can afford it, if you know, there's not gonna be any kind of sense of overwhelm. Of course, you have to feel like you're okay when you're making a purchase. But if you can tick all of those boxes, then I highly recommend never to wait for a deck, even a mass market deck, because honestly, I have been caught out a number of times in which I was thinking I have time to get the deck, and then it went out of print, and then it went up in price. Same happened for the Daily Enchantment by Poppy Palin. I always thought to myself, it's a beautiful deck, but I have time, I can buy it, and then you all know what happened, and unfortunately the prices went up through the roof. So, you know, in any case, this is a beautiful deck. It's a very straightforward deck. I had the opportunity to read with this deck a couple of times. Some images are very strong, by the way. This Five of Swords is, but it does give you, you know, it does convey all that kind of sense of anxiety that I feel that should be portrayed in that card. And on the other hand, when you look at the Ten of Swords, because it could be the same, you know, it could be just as powerful, it could be conveying just as much anxiety and despair. But on the other hand, I love it because this person has been stabbed 10 times in the back, but it must have been really shallow stabbing, because it actually freed themselves, and they're just walking away now. So I really love that concept in that card. So this is the Anna K, and I'm very happy that I have got it. I hope that the box will survive the troubles. And let's move on to the last few decks. Okay, so I had to buy this one. This is the Diary of a Skeleton Tarot. And I purchased the last 4 decks that I'm going to show you. I've actually purchased them at the second reseller, which was called Mystic House. Also in Ho Chi Minh City, also one of the 3 reputable resellers of decks. They only stock legit decks. They do it, even though, as I said at the beginning of this video, it is very, very hard to stay afloat in a very aggressively competitive market where all other resellers are actually selling counterfeit decks at really, really low prices. But they want to protect the industry from piracy, and so they insist on selling legit decks. And that's why, and let me tell you, I spent a lot of money, so I did not pay less for these decks. As a matter of fact, I did pay a premium price on them because I wanted to support them. I saw this deck for the first time on Danny Mystic's channel, and I love Danny, and she was talking about this deck. She was showing this deck, and it's so cute. I really love it. And when I saw it, I didn't even have to double check the price. I didn't have to check a few of the cards online. I grabbed it, and it was the last one, and I'm very happy that I did. Although I have to say, in Mystic House, they do have a stock, a warehouse, and so it is possible. It was the last one on display, but it is possible that it's still available. I don't know. So the diary actually says only Diary of Skeleton Tarot. I believe that this one might be still available on maybe Tabata or another shop. My apologies, I actually don't really know. It's probably not Tabata. This one has the first part in Chinese and the second part in English as well, which is very much appreciated. And we also have, well, look at that. We also have element references, celestial body references, and constellation references. And we have an upright and a reverse meaning. So really, really enjoying this deck. So it is still wrapped. So I might have to, cut it through. Okay, so sometimes the wrap is very difficult to remove with just a scissor. And these, my goodness, the glue job on these cards, I don't know if you hear it, but they're really stuck together. Although I'm seeing now that even just doing so, it really helps. So this is slightly smaller, and I'm sorry, but I cannot zoom in because I'm not at home as I always explain, when I'm traveling, I have a different type of gear from the usual one. And this is as far zoomed in as I can go. My apologies for that. I will probably try and zoom in post-processing, so I could probably be able to do that. So this expect me to say cute and adorable a number of times by looking at this stack, because I'm gushing. I know I'm gushing, but it's so beautiful. And it's always skeletons, as you can see, but they're so cute. It's the cute kind of skeletons. And why not? I mean, I love skeletons, guys. I know skulls. I love skulls. But they don't always have to be scary. I mean, look at this dress card. Isn't it just absolutely fantastic? I really like it when, there's a bit of a change to the scary card. So there's still a Halloween kind of theme, obviously, but it's a cute, adorable, cutesy dootsy kind of Halloween deck. So I really love this. Really, really love it. And as I said, I saw it on Danny's channel. I really loved it. And then I thought to myself, should I get it? But as always, shipping costs to Australia are prohibitive. Later, I was talking to a lot of people from the US, and I heard that when it comes to a few Kickstarters, you guys are kind of complaining as well, because there are hefty shipping fees from Kickstarter coming from Europe, for example. And let me tell you, I feel you completely. I understand you 100%, because this is our life in Australia. What you see and you justly complain about in shipping fees from Europe, we have to, every single deck that we buy from the US, we have to pay that much money on shipping fees. So it is a very, very painful hobby or passion to have. So this was the Diary of Skeleton tarot. Really, really cute. And then what have we got? So we got the last 3 decks. And so let's just show you this one. So this is a biggie. This is the Eastern Ink Tarot. This is not the deluxe edition. The deluxe edition, it was very beautiful. I love all the gadgets it came with, but it was just way too big. Unfortunately, this is already, I don't know if you can tell, but this is already being damaged during the moving of the suitcases and everything. And it's really a pity. I hope, I'm opening now, but I really hope, I don't think that it damaged the cards. I really hope it didn't. It happens. I mean, I'm not even upset, to be honest with you. We're traveling a lot, and this is part of what happens sometimes when you travel. And I did my best to ensure that this will not happen. And to be honest, I have something like around 20 decks, and only one of them got injured. So it is a pretty good result, but let me just double check. So this is the really big guidebook, almost like a book. Again, first part in Chinese, second part in English, which is always very much appreciated. I'm sure everyone knows this deck because it's not new. It's been in circulation for a while, but moment of suspense. Let's see if indeed the cards are being damaged or not. No, okay, no. I don't know if you can see this, but you see that? So that is 1 millimeter away. So the damage, the dent was 1 millimeter away from the cards. My goodness. All right, talk about luck. Anyway, so very pleased the cards are still intact. There's absolutely no damage to them. I'm very happy about that. So as I was saying, you're probably very familiar with this deck because it has been around for a couple of years, if not been around longer. And it is a really beautiful deck. This one as well, you can find it on Tavada. It is well, it's called Eastern Ink. So as you can imagine, it does have all these kind of Chinese prints, scroll prints, or Japanese ukiyo-e kind of vibe that I really love. And whenever I look at these kind of decks, I always think about my dad, because my dad was really passionate about Eastern art, in particular this kind of art. So scroll printings and ukiyo-e. And so much so that every time that I was going to traveling to Asia, China, or Japan, it was always asking me to bring back something. And now I have them because he's passed away, and that's one of the few things that I could save, let's say, from when he passed away, and I had to take his stuff. So this is a really beautiful deck. It's really incredibly beautiful. I have seen it a number of times. A few of my friends in the tarot community have this deck. Sorry, but as always, there's a lot of glue and the cards are really sticking one to the other. So I'm just going to do that. So really beautiful colors, as you can see. The art style is amazing. I just really love the style in which they show the waves, you know, in the moon, for example. Really lovely. And this is one of the decks that I feel would probably pair up really well with the Vast Enlightenment cards. It's just that the Vast Enlightenment cards are, as I said, the version that I got is the darker one, the darker kind of meanings. Whereas these cards will probably pair up better with the lighter version. But let me just see. So let's try this out. And let me just shuffle this deck first. Okay, so let's try this out. I have no idea if it's gonna work. As I said, these are light, probably better combined with the lighter edition of the Enlightenment cards. So I'm just trying to center them. Okay, and where is it? It's here. So this is the deck that we've seen before, as I was saying. And I'll give it a shuffle as well. All right, so yeah, I can see that immediately. I mean, I love the art style because it is similar. It's kind of, it does remind me of a certain type of style, but I'm not entirely sure that these two actually go well together. I'm really thinking that I should pair the Vast Enlightenment cards with the Tarot V, especially. I just wanted to check it out because, you know, it is probably, I don't know why. I thought that it could have been a good match, but it's actually not. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. What do you think? We don't have the same art style. We don't have the same color palette. We don't have the same vibes. Is that a definite no, or can we still see something going on between the cards? Is there any kind of a conversation? I don't hear anything. I don't know. Let me know what you think. You know, sometimes I just try a pairing and it doesn't have to be always a successful one. Sometimes that's why we call trial. I mean, we're trying something out, doesn't work, we move on to something else. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Okay, but let's move on to the next deck. So it's actually two decks. So I'm going to show them together. These are both by Pixel Occult, who's also the creator of the Neo Moon Tarot, the Lost Hollow Tarot, and another couple of decks. There's one oracle deck which is called the Adorobiso, which is still on my list. I thought that it would have been on stock at either one of these two shops, and unfortunately they had just run out. And I was really gutted because I was really looking forward to that deck and I couldn't find it. But I also was looking forward to the Neo Moon Lenormand, and I'm quite happy that I found it. So this one is a Lenormand. This one is a Tenebrae Tarot. So we got one Tarot and one Lenormand. And I have to say, I don't have a lot of Lenormand decks. I would love to, because I feel that there is some kind of a Lenormand revival lately. there's more and more artists that have maybe come out with a tarot deck, and then they just decided to come out with a Lenormand as well. This is an interesting guidebook because it is portrait bound and not horizontally bound, which is very unusual. But this is very similar to the tarot deck. So I have the Neo Moon tarot deck, and I absolutely love it. If you are familiar with Pixel Occult's decks, well, there's also an Instagram account which I follow, which is absolutely interesting because it's not really showing his decks. It's mostly showing kind of a satire, vignettes and memes and stuff like that. And I really, really like it, appreciate it. It's always very funny. But whenever he's also showing the decks, is because perhaps he's been changing, he's been implementing, I don't know, trying out decks with new formats and stuff like that. And I saw this one, and originally I really wanted the Red Hand Lenormand, which is by the same author, but is more similar to the Lost Hollow Tarot. But when he came out with the Neo Moon, I really wanted this deck. It's a cyberpunk deck, which is my favorite. But in the same colors as the Neo Moon Tarot. And I really, really love it. I love this deck. It's also gilded in purple, as you can see. So I'm really excited about this. As I said, I don't have a lot of Lenormand decks, but the few that I have, I actually really love them. Oh, I just love this. Wow. There's a person in a wheelchair with the symbol of, this is on the box of the Neo Moon Tarot, by the way. I love this deck so much. It's really dark, as you can see. But at the same time, it does have a very powerful energy that I really enjoy. It's a linen deck, so very nice to the touch as well. Yeah, I'm going to be really, really happy about using this deck. Absolutely gorgeous. Really love it. Okay, so we've got this one, and then we also have, the Tenebrae Tarot is also coming on a full standard size edition. I decided to go with the pocket edition simply because of, well, mostly because of space. So I do have a lot of space problems, especially when I'm traveling. But also because I don't think the full edition was in stock. So I'm quite happy that I found the pocket one. And it's also the same material, so it's linen. I don't know if you can tell. If I do like this with the light, you can probably tell it's a linen finish. It's a black and white deck. I don't have any other black and white decks by Pixel Occult. This is a very similar style to the Sinking Wasteland, for example, or perhaps also the Lost Hollow. Which is something that I really like. I have the 3rd edition of the Lost Hollow, but I know that now there's a recent edition with the maroon red kind of borders, which I'm looking at. Again, it would be very expensive for me to buy because of the shipping costs. So I was very happy to find these two. As I said, it's very similar to the style of the, the cards is very similar. Even to the Neo Moon Tarot, it's obviously different kind of colors because we're looking at black and whites here, but I really, really love it. Really, I just love this style. It's a mix between dark decks and cyberpunk and, that's graphic novel kind of style that I really like. Really exceptional. I think it's exceptionally talented as an artist. Really, really talented. So I'm quite happy about this deck. And that was actually the last deck that I wanted to show you for today. So what's going to happen is that there's another couple of decks which have, one of them has won a Carta award. And then from the same author, there's going to be also an Oracle deck. And then I'm going to, but all of those, so there's going to be 3 more decks that I'm going to show in my Tarot Tour Vietnam special video. So the special video in which I'm going to show you the museum, the Tarot Museum on the Mekong Delta. And that one is going to be available to all of my members first, and then it's going to be released to all of my other subscribers. But for today, that was all that I wanted to show you. Thank you so much for watching as always, and have a great day.